10 of the Brewed for Life podcast. Just want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and hopefully all of your goals and expectations for this year become true. Again, it all depends on how much focus we really put it on them, and how realistic we are with those goals. So I just wanted to jump in and talk about a few things that have already happened this year, which incidents that happened in Vegas and happened in New Orleans and New York City on New Year's Eve. And I think that we need to kind of put some stuff in perspective, because this world is, I don't want to say it's in shambles, but I would dare to say that we have a lot of issues going on. And unfortunately for us, the citizens of this country, unfortunately for us, we are in a position where we are the most vulnerable people to have these kind of unfortunate things happen. And I don't want to say I'm a conspiracy theorist, because I'm not, but I do listen to all the information that gets put out, and it's kind of troublesome, because I've heard some conflicting stuff about what has happened in New Orleans, that it was targeted, it was not targeted, it's terrorism, it's not terrorism. The Cybertruck that blew up in Vegas, like, there's gas in the trunk, and I don't know that much about Teslas, but it seems like however they are built kind of contained the explosion, and it could have been a lot worse. The stuff in New York with people getting shot at a club, and I'm seeing people getting pushed in front of trains. Like, what the hell is going on in this world? People have really stopped caring about one another, and have really, I don't know. I think people have just lost their fucking minds, to be honest with you. Or maybe this mental health, crisis that goes on in our country is a hell of a lot fucking worse than anybody wants to let us know about. So I just want to say that I want to express my condolences for those individuals that were either hurt or have lost somebody, or were there when they lost a friend or a family member in these very disgusting and tragic events. If you're listening, please just kind of take the time to think about the things that have happened, how people have started their new year, people that have lost somebody because of these events. We need to come together as citizens as a whole again, and get rid of this division for whatever the fuck it is over politics, religion. I don't even know anymore. It's just a fucking mess. And people can stand however they want to politically. I don't think this fucking problem is going to be fixed by either one of the candidates that we had to vote for. I think this is a long term, maybe 12 or 15 years of everybody putting their minds together and really making a conscious effort to fix the issues that are causing this kind of sadness. That's the best way I can put it, sadness. So I hope everybody can just start the new year with a refocus. And like I said, really sad events that happened on New Year's Eve. Now, outside of that, I want to talk about some of the things that everybody tends to do at the beginning of the year, and that is set goals and set expectations. And I want to be this year, and I want to be this, do these things, and I want to make myself a better person. I think the one thing that we lose track of when we make these goals is, first, you have to put a fucking effort into it. You can't just say it. Words are just words without action. And your action needs to be consistent, and you have to get up every single morning with the thought process of, I'm going to change this because it's the best thing for me. It either makes me healthier, it makes me happier, it makes my situation better, whatever your goal is. But you need to have that mindset every single morning. Otherwise, don't fucking bother making a goal if you're not going to attack. You're just wasting your time. And what you're actually doing, to some extent, is you're failing yourself. So set multiple goals for the year, yes, but attack them one at a time. Find out which one is the most important. This is the time of the year where most people go, oh, I'm out of shade, I'm overweight, I don't eat healthy, I don't do this, I don't do that. And guess what? From somebody who has spent a lot of time in gyms, I hate this time of the year when I was going to gyms. I have my own gym here at my house, so I get up at 5 o'clock every single morning and I get out there and I get it done and I come back in and I have my shake and I get my day moving. The thing about being in a gym this time of the year is that you get 500 million people that sign up because they want to make their lives better. And then what they end up doing is coming in, working for the first week, they get sore. The second week, they barely show up. By the end of the month, they've signed a contract, which is perfect for gyms. They've signed a contract for a full year now that they're obligated to pay or they have to buy out of it, and they give up on themselves because they don't want to be sore. They don't want to put the effort. They make excuses for why they can't go. They make excuses for this, that, and everything else. Do yourself a favor. The best thing that you can do is set your goal and force yourself to achieve it. Manage yourself. Be the person that makes it through at least one of your goals this year. One of them. Because if you don't even bother making goals at the beginning of the year because you're not going to attack them and you're not going to move forward on them. You want to make change? Then make the change. Legitimately put your best foot forward and start making a change. And if your goal is to, like I said, be more physically fit, get more active, lose some weight, start with being consistent in the things that are going to help promote that. Diet, exercise, maybe a little bit of supplementation, which I'm here or there about supplementation, if you're going to be consistent and you're going to follow through, then yes, I think you do need some kind of supplementation as far as protein or whatever the case may be. But it really starts with good foods, eating healthy, portion control, eat several meals throughout the day. There's also, thought processes of fasting and when how long you should go before you actually have your first meal. I'm not into all of that. I've always been on the slimmer side my entire life, and I've always had decent metabolism, so I try not to get in and all that. I do get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drink a bang, and I don't eat anything until after my workout, so I guess you could call that fasted. I don't know. But, like I said, do yourself a favor and attack your goals this year one at a time. If you want to focus on your mental health, then find the things that trigger your mental health and work on those one at a time. If it's your family, then fucking create some distance. If it's your friends, then create some distance from them. But you have to be willing to make changes in order to get changes. If you're not going to take the steps to make a change, so be it. The other thing I want to talk about is you see a lot of people, and I've posted this on the Instagram page already this week, and that is it's about not sacrificing yourself for the sake of making somebody else feel better. And I think that's got to change in this world too. Just because your opinions and your feelings about something are going to upset somebody else, why would you sacrifice yourself just for the sake of not making somebody else upset or hurt? The way to do it is through proper communication, not to just withdraw and not say anything, because conversations work two ways. People's opinions work two ways. And if you're not willing to sit down and have a conversation as individuals and be able to share ideas and share different opinions and talk about them as civilized adults, then the problem, first of all, starts there. And then if that's not it, then the problem is with one of the two individuals. Communication. Open up those lines again. Don't sacrifice yourself for, like I said, somebody else's well-being, because while they're growing, you're killing yourself. You're making yourself stand in the same position, and that doesn't help you grow. Challenging situations are opportunities for an individual to work through issues, to grow. Put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable this year. I'm not saying dive into the deep end, but challenge yourself a little bit with things that make you uncomfortable. if you have problems in social environments, put yourself in a situation that challenges you enough where you can start to build the confidence to see that, like, hey, this isn't that bad. I can do this. This is something that I can work on. And I'm not going to say you're ever going to be perfect at it, because let's be honest, like, sometimes it's tough to be in social situations and in different, spaces, because you're not going to get along with everybody. And if it's healthier for you to remove yourself from that, then you got to do it. But you got to try. You have to put yourself in that position and be able to at least see if you can manage yourself in those spaces. I'll be the first person to admit that my fiance had challenged me multiple times with, I know you don't want to do this, and I know you struggle and you get agitated and you get real short in these situations, but I need you to be able to do these things. And I still struggle on it, like years after her expressing how much she wanted me to face those things, I still struggle at it. But what I don't do now is shy away from being in those situations. I go in those situations. I try to manage myself the best I can. I try to manage my facial expressions, my responses, my eyes, because I am 100% somebody that, like, my body language and my facial expressions tell you everything you need to know about what I'm thinking. So it's not always been easy for me to be able to do those things, but I challenge myself to do it. That's something that, if that's your goal, push yourself outside of those boundaries. The other thing that goes along with this is other people's opinions, they don't have to be yours. And other people's opinions should not impact your life. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Their opinion, whether they're a family member or a friend, we value those opinions because those are the people that are closest to us. Those are the people that trust us. Those are the people that spend the most time around us. They are the ones that know us the best. But to be fair, the person who knows who we are the best is ourselves. And you can't, as an individual, make another person feel bad because you don't agree with their decision. Their decision is theirs. They're the one living with the consequences of that decision. They're the ones living their lives. And if it's not your spouse, then it doesn't impact your life. Just take the time and step back and refocus what you're talking about, because you have to remember that if the roles were reversed, and somebody was talking to you like you are talking to somebody, you would hate it. So why do it to somebody else? You can't interject your opinion and then get mad when somebody doesn't agree with your opinion. You don't control their life. They do. They trust in you for your insight, but that doesn't mean that they're going to change your life just because you think one thing or another. It's not how that works. You get to control your life, not somebody else's. The only life that you actually get to manage and control outside of your own is your kids until they become adults. And then you do your best to guide them. You don't get to control everybody else around you. And if you think you can, then you might need to get some fucking help, because you don't. You don't get to control people. Part of the benefits of living in this country is that everybody gets to make their decision. Everybody gets a chance and an opportunity to make the life that they want for themselves. And within those journeys to be able to make your life what you want it to be, there will be ups and downs, and there will absolutely be learning experiences. And you could sit back as a friend or a family member and say, I told you so, but people still need to go through it. They still need to learn from it. They still need to see what the results are from their actions, what the consequences are from their actions. You don't get shit to shelter people. Sheltering people is the worst fucking thing you could possibly do. If people don't learn and they're not exposed to things, that makes them scared. It creates mental illness. It creates social disorders. You can't shelter people from everything, because then when they get put in a situation that they were sheltered from for a long period of time, then they don't know what to do. They freeze. They get scared, and bad things happen. So expose. Listen. Be everything that you would want somebody to be for you in the right space. Take an inventory of what you're about to say and make sure that it's coming across the way that you want somebody to come across to you. Control your own life. Control the path that you're on. Give your opinions and your insight to the people that ask for them. But you don't get to just volunteer them and then get mad when somebody says, I appreciate what you're doing, but I don't want to hear it. Take the time this year to manage life. Get back into the things that we have talked about in previous episodes, which is take time for the people that you care about the most. Take time for the friends that are not just there when it's time to have a good time, when it's time to celebrate something, but are there when you're a shell of yourself, sitting in the corner, shaking, crying, separating yourself from the world. The people that pick up the phone and call you, or when you say, listen, I need something, the people that drop everything to be there for you, those are your fucking friends. The people that don't want to have anything to do with you when you're in your bad moments and just want to be there when it's time to go party or time to have a good time, those people you don't fucking trust with a fucking stick of gum. They don't give a shit about you. They just care about the good time, and you just happen to be a part of it. Take the time to acknowledge those people. Take the time to acknowledge your family members that mean the most to you. Make sure that you are giving yourself the opportunity to learn, to embrace, to listen, to grow. 2025 needs to be a year of better people. It has to be. You have to learn as people that when you have a conversation, it's a conversation. It's two ways. There's multiple opinions. You're not always going to talk to somebody who sees things your way. And guess what? That's fine. That's healthy. You actually learn from those conversations. When you understand somebody else's perspective, you might not agree with it, but at least you know where they're coming from. And now your relationship with them starts to take shape. You know the things that are going to be hot button topics between each other. So you know what? You try to stay away from it. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to agree to disagree. But you got to be able to at least get to the point where you can understand each other. You know, like, I don't want to see any more videos this year of two conflicting sides face to face yelling at each other and telling each other that their opinion is wrong. Their opinion's not wrong. Nobody's opinion is wrong. If that's what they think and that's what they believe, that's fine. But don't force it on somebody else to try to understand. You can't cram it down their throat. You want people to understand what your perspective is and be able to respect your opinion, then you need to give the same respect back to somebody who doesn't have the same opinion. It's a must. You have to be able to do it. It is sad to see how much violence, how many people have been hurt, how many people were just out enjoying their life and either got wounded, got injured, or died because of somebody's like extreme vision on whatever. Your opinion matters, but like, come on, man. Get your shit together. The world doesn't have one view. This idea of a one world government and a one world of thinking, like, it's not gonna work. It doesn't work because people in different countries have different perspectives. They have different religious beliefs. They have different cultural rituals and things that they do within their societies that might not happen in any other part of the world. So their opinions and their perspectives are not the same as somebody else's. Here in the U.S., our opinions and the way we go about our daily lives and the things that are important to Americans are not the same things that are important to Canadians. They're not the same things that are important to people that live in Central America or South America. They are not the same opinions that people in Puerto Rico or France or Russia or wherever. Like, we all don't have the same opinions. You're not gonna like think that one government where everybody's gonna fall into place and say, okay, I concede. Like, it's just not gonna happen. We can't even get civil rest in the Middle East because of different opinions of boundaries and cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. It's been going on for centuries. We couldn't get that done, and it's not going to happen. And unfortunately for the people that live in that area, like, there's probably going to be war there all the time because people feel very extremely about where their lines are drawn. And because they can come to the table and make an agreement, but then it just takes the slightest bit of smoke and that place erupts again. We can't control that. We can't even control what goes on here. I just don't even know what to think anymore, you know? Like, I get so frustrated. Like, I just saw another news thing that we're going to send another $5 billion fucking dollars to Ukraine. Meanwhile, we got families and a ton of people in the central part of the East Coast and in the Carolinas that are suffering because of the flooding and because of the hurricanes that went through in the summertime. We have yet to take care of them, and whatever we did do for them, I guess like all their tickets expire in this month. We don't have money to take care of them, but we got money to take care of people in the Ukraine. I don't understand. We talk about the homelessness and all this other stuff that goes on in this country, and we send billions of dollars to other countries, and we forget to deal with the homeless situation, the unemployment situation, the mental health issues, the healthcare issues, the housing issues, the cost of living issues. Like, when are we going to face that we're not the world's bank? I don't even know if this is true, but I would dare to say that we are probably one of the countries that is the most in debt to other countries in the world. We find money to shell out to other countries. And I get that, like, we get involved for resources and trade and all these other things, but, like, let's not act like our shit doesn't stink. We can't save the world when we can't save ourselves. What kind of an example are we setting for the rest of the world when we can't fix ourselves, but we're trying to fix somebody else? It's a very sick way of thinking. And it's been going on, you know, like, people can argue back and forth about the political stance of this country over the last 8 years, but, like, this shit's been going on for decades. We've been giving money to other places, and then we have the nerve in our states and at the federal body to sit in these meetings and you know, our Congress and our representatives, like, they sit there and they focus so much on what's going on outside, but we forget to fix what's going on in here. And when we do, it's tied into some bullshit bill, you know, covered with a whole bunch of other things. That shit's got to change. And I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care who the president is, but, like, our government needs to wake the fuck up and really start caring about the people that voted you into office. The people that live in the states that you represent, where you're supposed to be in these offices, sharing what your constituents' opinion is, sharing what is most important to the people that live in your states, and being able to take that to our U.S. government and apply it to, this is what I'm hearing in my state, and somebody else's state might be saying the same thing, or being able to meld some of these issues and get them squared away. Some of this other shit, like, needs to fucking stop. $5 billion for a country we already spent, I don't even know how much money to fight a war. I don't even know anymore. Like, we don't have money to save ourselves, but we have money to save somebody else. Something's got to give. Something has to give. We have people in this country that are struggling with mental illness. We have people in this country that are struggling to pay their bills. We have people in this country where it's expensive to rent. It's expensive to own. It's expensive in general. I don't know what it's going to take for everybody to kind of come to an agreement that we're all not going to have the same issues that are important to us, but what our government officials have to be doing is addressing the issues that are the highest percentile of importance to the people within their states, and that goes for state government, federal government. If somebody's not addressing those issues, then maybe they don't need to be voted back into office multiple times in a row. I mean, if you go to work and you fail to meet expectations of your boss and your boss's bosses, guess what? You get fired. If you work in a business where they take engagement surveys and the people that work for you say that you are constantly having issues or not addressing problems or whatever else, guess what? You get fired. But we have government officials that make it into office at the state level and the federal level years after years after years that aren't addressing any of the major issues in the country, but we keep voting them in because we feel one way or another way politically, so we vote along those political lines. I think we need to remember that, like, politics are a part of life, yes, but the politics don't, unless you're in politics, And unless you're in some kind of, a state government or federal government or something along those lines, if you're not involved in that, politics don't play a part of your daily life. Politics don't help you wake up in the morning. Politics don't help you go to work. They don't put gas in your car. They don't pay your bills. So we need to get off of that line and start talking to each other and start handling things as citizens as what's important to us. We need to start addressing some stuff within ourselves and I don't know, maybe set the example by treating our neighbors better and treating the people that we interact with on a daily basis a little bit better. And, if somebody's rude to you, as far as I'm concerned, it's okay to be rude back to them. I don't give a fuck what kind of day they're having. Like, I didn't make your day bad, so you're not going to make my day bad. That's just the way it is. You try to brush it off and you try to turn their day around, but if they keep giving you attitude, like, as far as I'm concerned, they can fuck off. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna let, just because you're having a bad day, I'm not gonna let your bad day ruin my day. Like, we need to be aware of ourselves. We need to be aware that you can't expect something from somebody when you're not giving it back to them. And that's really where it needs to start. And I said it before that, like, when I was growing up, I was always taught in school and at home that you treat others the way you expect to be treated. So if you treat somebody like shit, don't be surprised when they treat you like shit in return. If you treat somebody well and they treat you like shit in return, I don't know, maybe that's a them problem. Maybe they are just having a shit day. If they come back and apologize for treating you like that, then they were having a shit day, and guess what? They met you halfway. Nobody is better than anybody else. We all get up, we all start our days the same way. We all have bills to pay. We all have our own daily problems, our own family issues. We all are on the same damn course. So we don't need to take the time to fight each other about all this other bullshit when we're all fighting a battle outside of that. So with that said, I want to tell everybody, happy new year. Focus this year. Address your goals. Attack them one at a time. Stay the course. Don't give up on yourself, because like I said earlier, the only person that is really going to care about your goals and you achieving your goals is you. And if you're not fully invested in your own goals, then you are already destined to fail. Coming up in probably this weekend, I will record first episode of hopefully what becomes a little bit of a series with a good friend of mine. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health issues. We're going to talk a little bit about substance abuse issues. We're going to talk a little bit about the dynamic of how important it is to face your past so that your future can be better, and the impact that the past has on the future. I'm excited about that because I think it's going to really touch home with a lot of people. My past was not always easy. When I went to therapy, I buried a bunch of shit, and I really didn't start to address it or realize that it was there until I was working through the process. These next couple of episodes, when I am able to get them recorded and get them out there, I think you're really going to like them. So with that said, thank you guys so much for listening. Please stay tuned. Please pass on, to friends and family to check out the podcast. Things are just going to get better as time goes on. Also got the podcast up on iHeartRadio yesterday, so please check that out. And again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.